interoperability. The nation of DeFi clearly demands it, and it's enabled one to take value stored in Bitcoin and put it to work in a world of new and exciting decentralized finance applications on Ethereum. It's like giving your Bitcoin a holiday in a completely different land where it can do a bunch of other stuff that just isn't possible on the Bitcoin network. And in the future, we'll probably see similar demands as DeFi development grows beyond the confines of Ethereum so that users can move between a melting pot of digital assets and applications across many blockchains to their heart's content. But for now, the explosion of Bitcoin tokenization on Ethereum is the best proof that when you enable DeFi users to be interoperable, users will move their value to wherever they can put their money to work best for them, and that leads to exponential growth.
Hello everybody, it's Max with Crypto Talk. Now, every problem has a solution. What do I mean? Well, let's kick it into today's Quant coverage. And if anything, it's specifically in regards to Quant's QRC-721 token. Why does it matter? Why should we pay attention to it? Let's get right into it. So before we jump right into this specific topic of QRC-721, we need to first understand why NFTs exploded in popularity in 2021. That's the bottom line. So back in 2021, two of the most active markets for NFTs were collectible art projects and the video game industry. Now, I myself am a gamer. You can follow me actually on DPGmaximus if you're into that. But NFTs have ushered in a new era of video gaming since back then. A big popular one was what? Axie Infinity. And we saw, for instance, really great all-time highs with that and so on. And even some people got into what? SLP, Smooth Love Potion, right? But check this out. It says specifically when it comes to blockchain-based play-to-earn games that provide players with in-game benefits, we need to understand that there was a whole proliferation of those new types of games that came into blockchain. On top of that, there was platforms like OpenSea, as we know about, but Axie Infinity really stood out. Why did they stand out? Well, if anything, listen to this. Axie Infinity's NFT market reached a milestone of 1 billion in total trading volume. In addition, the game accounted for 2/3 of blockchain game NFT transactions in 2021, according to a report covered by, of course, Cointelegraph, basically back in 2021. Now listen to this. NFTs within crypto gaming are a massive tool, probably one of the top 3 driving forces in crypto mainstream adoption. Keyword here, adoption. Right now, or back then I should say, the biggest roadblock they were facing is that games aren't very fun to play. If you try Axie Infinity, it's all right. If you tried other particular blockchain-based games, some are all right, some are better than others, right? Some will say, oh, the onboarding experience is bad. And that is true. I have a lot of gamer friends, they all say the same thing. Using a crypto wallet isn't ideal, right? Especially if you're a gamer. You need to abstract it away. For some people, they said, I don't believe that. Kids will go through pain to get what they want if it's fun. And that is very true. So what is the solution to get some of this going? And where am I going with this? Well, bear with me. We're going to get right there. So FOMO, right? Fear of missing out, also seemed to play a major role with the masses, or the massive success, I should say, of picture or proof collectors like Bored Ape Yachts Club. We all know about that by now, hopefully, right? Soaring from a mint price of $300 up to $3.4 million for a rare golden ape. No matter what it is, there's usually 2 types of adopters, which is true. Those who see the potential in a trend and who are willing to stick with it, and those who will join in because, let's face it, everybody's doing it. I must have to do it too. NFTs are no different. Now, of course, we can get into this whole thing about how they fared in 2022, and don't get me wrong, for a large portion of 2022, NFTs still did well, right? Now, where I want to get into this is this, specifically speaking. If you look back, for instance, back in 2021, early 2022, you will see this particular piece that was mentioned right here. I'll go ahead and highlight. It says this year, in reality 2022, also saw users losing their Bored Apes due to user error of, listen to this, fat finger errors, which led Bored Apes worth hundreds of thousands being sold for far less. For example, Bored Ape 835 sold for 115 DAI on March 28th, while another one sold for 200 on May 15th. right? But the problem is this. The problem, basically, is that you saw, for instance, daily NFT trading volume, for instance, on OpenSea's platform, go down nearly 99% from its May 1st peak. And that's the key thing. Why is that? And why does it matter for the likes of a person who's into Quant? Well, if anything, let's kick it more into just that. This particular deep dive and why the QRC-721 token matters so much, and why I'm making a bold statement that Quant will go parabolic. Now, I'm not stating it will go parabolic tomorrow, but again, when the bull market kicks fully in, boy, oh boy, this is going to be something else, to say the least. Quant helps solve an NFT problem. So when we get back to some of this bullish, market participants, if you will, where things start kicking back in high gear, again, a lot of that, supply and demand will definitely be there. But how can Quant solve some of these particular problems? Well, without further ado, I want to go ahead and jump into this particular segment, which is going to outline a few key things of understanding NFTs. And then we'll come right back where you can have this particular next segment that is going to outline why the Quant 721 token is so significant. So let's go ahead and get right into it.
This is Nyan Cat. He's part cat, part Pop-Tart. The gif of a rainbow casting feline was a viral meme back in 2011. Fast forward to February 2021, the original gif was sold at an online auction for 300 Ether, the cryptocurrency that powers the Ethereum network. That was equivalent to nearly $600,000 at the time. You may be asking how someone can own the original copy of a gif that was pervasive around the internet. It's because it was sold as an NFT, or non-fungible token, which acts like a digital certificate of authenticity. The market for NFTs ballooned in 2020, climbing to a market cap of at least $338 million from about $41 million in 2018. But skeptics are asking whether these assets are really worth the value assigned to them, especially if all it takes to view them is an internet connection. To understand how NFTs work, first you need to understand what fungibility is. Fungibility refers to the ability of an asset to be exchanged or substituted with similar assets of the same value. A simple example of a fungible asset is currency. Say you have 5 $1 bills in your wallet. You may not want to carry around so much change, so you exchange them for a single $5 bill. The value of your money is still $5, regardless of the fact it's now in a different form. Non-fungible assets are the opposite. Each one is unique and can't be easily substituted for something similar. Think of the Mona Lisa. It's an original piece of art. It couldn't be swapped out for, say, a Mona Lisa poster from the Louvre gift shop, because the poster doesn't hold the same value.
The idea behind NFTs is that you have this digital signature in the way that a great work of art might bear the signature of the person who created it. So you can always go and look at the original and say, yes, this is the real one, this is authentic. A NFT winds up having that through the blockchain where the information is recorded.
NFTs are cryptocurrencies, but unlike fungible cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, they are completely unique. They exist as a string of numbers and letters stored on a blockchain ledger. This information can contain who owns the digital asset, who sold it, and when it was sold. This information is also encrypted, ensuring the NFT's authenticity and scarcity. In doing so, they fix a difficult problem for digital creators on the internet: how to make your creation scarce and therefore more valuable.
So with NFTs, you wind up having the scarcity because they are non-fungible, and because of that, there is only one of these tokens that can exist. It can't be traded for anything similar because there is nothing similar that exists. And so you wind up getting that scarcity and that limitation, which helped drive up some of the prices.
One of the early applications of creating this scarcity was the digital collectible game CryptoKitties, which emerged in 2017. Users were able to buy, trade, and breed digital cat collectibles. Each new cat was an NFT, which certified its originality and ownership. Since then, NFTs have been applied to video games, digital art, and sports memorabilia. One example is NBA Top Shot, which allows users to procure a collection of digital basketball highlights, like a video clip of a posterizing dunk. All highlights are NFTs and have become big business. By mid-March, NBA Top Shot had clocked in over $338 million in sales since it went live in October 2020. Non-fungible tokens are making their way into the mainstream art world as well. Auction house Christie's opened bidding for its first purely digital art NFT. Bids rocketed into the millions of dollars.
People are really excited about NFTs because, unlike with the blockchain underlying Bitcoin, you can do a lot more complex things with it. You can wind up setting terms within it, such as, the original creator, upon each resale of this asset, will get X amount, or you can take it and you can have an NFT that itself mints other NFTs, and it winds up having all of these really untested applications. The surface has only been scratched in terms of its potential.
Along with all the hype around NFTs, experts have raised some concerns. One issue is that not all NFTs verify the person selling a digital art piece is actually the original creator. This is difficult, particularly in online marketplaces.
One of the concerns is that anyone can essentially go on a lot of these marketplaces and say, I am the person who created this token, and it can be really hard to verify that, especially if you don't know who they actually are, or they're saying someone that they're not.
And some are skeptical that ownership alone makes digital assets valuable. When it comes to digital art, a buyer owns the original digital painting, but the person can't keep others from copying the image and sharing or changing it online.
You have had a lot of scams in cryptocurrencies just historically. And so the concern is that, people are hyping these up. They're saying, go buy these NFTs, it's great. But in reality, there's always got to be a buyer for there to be a seller, and people might decide all of a sudden, let me cash in my profits, and someone's going to be stuck holding the bag.
Proponents are bullish on the potential for NFTs, but critics are wary that it may be a digital bubble in the making.
So, with that said, it's clear that security is definitely a top issue when it comes to the likes of NFTs. That's a given. And on top of that, how about this? Interoperability. Yes, Quant's basic slogan, if you had to pick one, interoperability. All right, let's go ahead and jump into this particular next segment, which is going to break down basically what you've been waiting for. So let's go ahead and open that right up. So if anything, we're going to go ahead and get to this next particular page. And it comes straight, believe it or not, from the actual Quant site. Now, this is something that has been in development all the way back from August 4th of 2022 with Overledger 2.212, which basically, like you see right here, it says makes NFTs easy. Now, why does this matter, and why did I do a deep dive? That's the quick gist of it, right? Well, we'll get, again, more into that. Now, it states, for instance, with that particular release or introduction to that particular release, Overledger was to provide users the ability to create QRC-721 non-fungible tokens, aka NFTs, and deploy them onto Ethereum, Polygon, and XDC mainnets. And when we get further into this particular video, we'll show you an example of how that is currently going on as we speak. The newest QRC token type is introduced along with the existing QRC-20 fungible tokens, which can be used as payments as well as a functional stablecoin. Now, on top of that, in regards to specifically Overledger, it says Overledger is going to allow the tokenization of one of their premium APIs, and that's going to enable even those with little to no deployment experience to create, deploy, and manage the next generation of, listen to this, secure interoperable tokens and digital assets on supported networks. So again, that's the interoperability right there. We gave you the example, for instance, of Polygon, XDC, and a few other ones. QRC-721 tokens function like, listen to this, Ethereum standard counterpart ERC-721s. Again, that's your NFT connection, with the same definitions and structure for smart tokens. While ERC-721 tokens are designed for deployment on the Ethereum network, like I mentioned, QRC-721 tokens are highly secure and are blockchain agnostic. So just like Quant being, with the Overledger being blockchain agnostic, the same concept, but with what? NFTs. And that should be one of your main takeaways, if anything, going further into this particular video. Now, This is going to work across multiple distributed ledger technologies, and with Quant's QRC-721 token, that is going to be designed for customers who want to digitalize collectibles or artwork. And we see this going on as we speak with the likes of what? LUNC, for instance. You have physical assets and how they become tokenized. And what platform are they tokenized? Well, let's face it, LCX, right? So we get further down in this, and it states users can interact with tokenized through their easy-to-use user interface, Quant Connect. And basically, on that, you're going to be able to deploy and view those specific tokens. Once deployed, MDApps can call various functions to read data and initiate transactions to do what? Interact with the tokens via the QRC smart contract. Again, multiple layers of what? Utility here. All right, getting more further into this, there was another particular update, right? And again, I want to show you guys some of this because this was later on in the particular month of 2022, and this was posted by, of course, Quant's own Martin Hargreaves. Now check this out for yourself. It's unlocking the full potential of NFTs with QRC-721. And in this particular segment, I want to break down some of the key highlights here, which is crucial. So, for instance, if you go further down, it mentions specifically, right? Ethereum continues to host 80,000 NFT collections as a pillar within the NFTs ecosystem. In fact, it's over 100,000 as we speak now in 2023. It says, despite its popularity, Ethereum's primary NFT token standard, which is ERC-721, again, think about that, has a few limitations, to say the least, right? First off, security. I'm glad they pointed this out because that is the biggest issue why so many people complain about Ethereum to begin with. All right, so that is something I want to bring to your attention. Security can be an issue. Yeah. And unless adequately designed, ERC-721 smart contracts have been subject to hacks. And you saw that basically mention that little quick video clip we gave you. Fraudsters as well have found a myriad of ways to steal digital wallet credentials and gain access to administrative controls. Here's why, for instance, you saw like a big drop off. Not, I said 99%. In reality, probably 75% was credited to the security problems. Let's face it, when anybody, especially when it comes to crypto savvy people, when they hear something about like hacks or anything like that, anything particularly new, you're going to stay the heck away from it, and you're going to see the numbers deplete rapidly. All right, so what's the solution to this? Well, again, Quant is the solution, but how? Well, we're getting more into that. So it states, as you can see here, digital wallet credentials and gain access to administrative controls costing the industry nearly $87 million in 2022. Yikes. Secondly, ERC-721 tokens lack interoperability. Well, who's the solution to that? Well, obviously it's Quant, but listen to this. Since they lack interoperability and are unable to interact seamlessly with other blockchains other than Ethereum, that's obviously a main issue. This restriction can potentially limit the transactions of digital assets in the metaverse. Now, that is a key problem because as we know, when it comes to the metaverse, it's not fully utilized yet. Heck, it's not even technically, there's only some that are launched, right? You have, for instance, Decentraland, you have Sandbox, you have a few others, right? But as far as all the quote-unquote mainstream ones that we want to see, for instance, Shiba Inus is not out there yet. I cover, for instance, the likes of Metopolis from Zilliqa, that's not out there yet. And there's some other ones, right? So if anything, it's kind of like, look at it from this perspective, right? It's like a contractor going down and, they're moving the dirt all around. They already got the plot of land and they're setting up the frame, right? But now we're starting to get buildings. And now we got to the next step, which is, the building's fully developed and the streets paved and you name it, right? Then you have to go from that to the implementation of actually people on those particular platforms, right, in those particular metaverses. But how do we get people in those metaverses? Well, they will get in there, but if you have a problem where people are not going to be able to interact seamlessly with other blockchains other than just Ethereum, it becomes what? A problem. How is Quant the solution to that problem? Well, again, we have more. This is a deep dive. As you guys know, I like to do these particular things. So it says, developers must know Solidity, a programming language for Ethereum to execute robust, well-designed QRC-721 tokens and ensure the code is validated and, like I said, credentialed, right? Of course, auction sites and marketplaces like Rarible and OpenSea allow users to mint NFTs. However, listen to this. These platforms are not made for enterprise use. Not made for enterprise use. Yikes. Given these factors, they saw, for instance, an alternative to the ERC-721 token and launched, yes, I know, you already said it probably in your head, QRC-721 standard. And that's the great thing about Quant. For instance, all the FUD that happened with ERC-20, I came out with that particular video. If you haven't seen it, check it out. That was the problem was ERC-20. The solution was QRC-20, right? And of course, we outline that in a particular deep dive. If you haven't seen that already, you need to get into that because it addresses, for instance, gas misinformation, right? But of course, for the purposes of this video, we're going to just cover specifically this. Now, it says, for instance, given these factors, we saw the need for an alternative to the ERC-721 token, of course, was QRC-721. And that standard allows users to easily build and deploy and secure interoperable NFTs. That's the key takeaway here. Again, interoperable NFTs. How though? Well, with this particular standard. Let's break it down a little bit more. So QRC-721 is a token standard for NFTs. We established that. For unique and indivisible assets like digital artwork. Again, think about LeoX, think about LCX, think of diamonds, right? We already covered that here on CTN. If you haven't seen it, check it. You want to, you owe it to yourself. And physical items on the blockchain. Now, addressing this specifically, unlike QRC-20, QRC-721 is a non-fungible token that doesn't support fractionalization, and that's good. Instead, the QRC-721 code holds rich and extensive NFT metadata. Ooh, what's that all about? Well, like the ERC-721 token, its primary functions include these key things. Transferring digital assets from one account to the other. That is key. Because before, as we know, dating back to 2021, especially early 2022, it used to be just ETH. And then, of course, we saw, for instance, the likes of Polygon getting in the mix. And what happened in 2022 when it came to Polygon? Polygon was one of the standout top performers of 2021. If you had to pick one, I would say, well, if you had to pick three, I would say Filecoin did very, very well for both swing trade and even long term. But Polygon did exceptionally well, right? And it's still holding its value. I think it's still over $1. Now, this, of course, isn't a Polygon video, but the point is, Polygon understood the significance of being able to provide a different type of platform for NFTs can be minted and so on, right? So for instance, you saw other types of bridges. I cover, for instance, Clearpool. You have, that's not even an NFT bridge. That's just, for instance, a particular bridge with their particular network. But nonetheless, Polygon absolutely killed it. But what really, really helped them, I know I use this term a lot, leapfrog to the next level was what? What they accomplished by providing just that, another area, platform, if you will, that stood out for NFTs. Because somebody needed to do it. They definitely helped provide that. Now, when it comes to Quant, however, how do they come into the mix? Well, obviously, there's one thing to say, well, they're interoperable. Okay, all right, that sounds great. Let's get more into it. The key features that set QRC-721 tokens apart include, here's the key areas: security, interoperability, ease of use. But let's break it down just a little bit more specifically. QRC-721 smart contracts are enterprise grade, designed with security, I should say, in mind by a team of PhDs. That's pretty impressive. These are not just some geeks off the street, if you will, right? These smart contracts are tamper-proof. Tamper-proof. That is so impressive to begin with. As you saw in that the last video clip, right? Not the intro, but the last particular video clip, that was definitely a problem, right? We don't want people to just be able to steal somebody's digital artwork and pass it off on their own, or whatever the case be, or hijack the payment, from an auction or whatever, right? Don't want that. So if this is tamper-proof and resilient to diverse attack vectors, then we also know, like it says, that we can employ independent experts to review and scrutinize the code for vulnerabilities to help ensure that our NFTs are production ready. And how do we know that they're going to do that? Well, you already see that happening, for instance, with Quant's Overledger updates. That's why there's always these particular updates. They're an operating system. So like any legitimate operating system, once you understand it, especially whether you're a fan of Windows or not, I'm not exactly the biggest fan, but I do use it because I like the ease of what? Ease of use, ease of access. So with continual updates, picture this like when it comes to Quant. You can look at like service packs to a sense, right? Especially if you are familiar with the likes of Windows. So I look at it from that particular perspective, from that security point, to say the least. You want a team of experts to scrutinize the code, because if they can do a hack on it themselves by testing it, saying, you know what, look at this in this code, there's this vulnerability, there's that vulnerability, and so on. If anything, these problems are going to exist in the future. How do we know that? Any type of real hacker will exploit any type of flaw in code, period. All right, what about the interoperability? Well, we get into that right now. QRC-721's Tier 1 smart contracts will initially run on ETH, Polygon, and even XDC. However, they plan to expand on its functionality for compatibility with other blockchains. Yeah, they don't just stop there. Quant never stops and gets comfortable with just a few. Like, oh, ETH, Polygon, XDC, we're done. No. And you like that, because if anything, in the future, you'll see another particular Overledger update. And that's the beautiful thing, again, about Quant. Many wonderful things about Quant. All right, how about easy use? That's the main thing. You got to have the easy use. Like that was mentioned in, I believe, both particular clips, in the intro and also that other one. There's a problem of basically, people jumping through the hoops. If you make it too hard to use, especially for, like, for instance, gamers, they're just going to walk away from it. Like, to heck with this. It's just a JPEG. Why should we pay for JPEGs? Honestly, that's the way my gamer friends look at it. So, now, I did use that example of, like, a kid who realizes, if it's something really fun and there's a reward, they'll try to figure it out. Right. But we want that mass adoption. How do we get that mass adoption? Well, like it says, importantly, users do not need coding expertise. Yeah, you don't have to learn C++ or C# or, JavaScript or Python or all these other different types of computer languages, right? You need to simply understand that Overledger will tokenize and empower you to quickly deploy enterprise-grade NFTs using highly secure smart contract templates. Templates! Why would they put in a template? Think about it. Templates are designed for what? Ease of access. Like, for instance, I put out a thumbnail, right? If I make it into a template format and a whole bunch of them, it makes it a lot easier for me than just whipping one right out of the thin blue air, right? Well, is it really blue? I don't know. The Phoenix is kind of getting brown. But anyway, this no-code platform reduces the time to market for NFTs. Time to market for NFTs. As we point out many times, especially when it comes to Quant, or any significant blockchain project, time is money, right? Right. So this no-code platform reduces that time for NFTs and can lower the cost of blockchain and Web3 projects. How many times have we seen Gilbert Verdian mention specifically, oh, welcome, XYZ blockchain. You want to do this specific task or accomplish this specific thing in 3 to 4 years? Is it costing you $10,000 per month to operate? We could slash those expenses, and on top of that, how about this? Our expected goal is 8 months. And if you go with another blockchain that claims they're going to be, well, we're just fully interoperable anyway, you will find out it's going to take you 3 to 4 years. And how many times has that end up being the case? My point exactly. All right. So going further down, it says unlocking the full potential of NFTs with QRC-721. Now, we can, of course, get into more of the smart contracts and so on, and that's good to mention some of this. I think we already point out some of this. But if anything, I want to get down to this specific part right here. It says, lastly, by testing a loyalty rewards program utilizing the QRC-721 NFTs in our Hyperledger Fabric sandbox on Overledger, man, that was a mouthful. This program enables users to request, listen to this, loyalty points. Loyalty points. QRC-721 token, check balances for the amount owed, I should say, and redeem loyalty points with QRC-20 stablecoins. How cool is that? Is there anybody else really doing anything similar to that? Maybe, possibly XDC, but don't quote me on that. This example could help transform the loyalty industry, a key customer retention channel used by airlines, hospitality, and other sectors. So when they say that they're fully interoperable, they literally hit all these particular other sectors. How cool is that? Because if anything, it's not just a tokenization of a particular JPEG, right? I know that sounds bad, but think about this, you know, like for instance, we had Chad of the Devour Project. He was talking about the tokenization of restaurants. Now we have the tokenization of airlines, hospitality business, and other sectors. All right, let's get more into this specifically, because you may be wondering, well, is this here? You better believe it's here. Look at this. Check out this particular segment that we're jumping into. The world's first QRC-721 NFT is here. Pre-mint is now live. Well, it isn't. This actually was posted back in November. Now, why am I showing this to you? The reason why I want to show this to you is because, if anything, on that particular launch giveaway, those P NFTs were worth $25 a piece. And of course, this is actually over with. Now, you may be wondering, well, why even mention it? The reason why I want to mention it is because Nebula, that's what this is called, is the world's first QRC-721 NFT, and it was issued from who? Galileo Protocol, aka Leo X. We covered that here before, right? These multi-chain NFTs form the foundation of their particular ecosystem and grant access to a series of unique benefits and what? Perks. Yeah, perks. And how cool is it to hear these specific things, right? So again, you are incentivizing people to use your particular platform, and if anything, it's more secure, and you want to bring in that particular crowd of people who want something that is considered a more of a rare style NFT anyway, right? Think Bored Ape Yachts Club, right? So again, this was back in November, but I want to point out some key things here. So it says, additionally, Nebula also has the chance to generate listen to this, $35,000 worth of prizes through a series of updates, and Nebula's P NFTs will have increasing functions across a variety of blockchains powered just by who? Galileo Protocol. That is cool. Now, look at this. This is something that's significant. This is more modern. So this actually was posted yesterday. And this is where I really want to draw your attention. So it says straight from Galileo Protocol, right? This is not just me pulling this out of thin air or anything. Fun fact, the very first Nebula transaction on the secondary market was sold for 300 Matic. Why would it be 300 Matic? Why Matic? Think about it. The interoperability standard from the QRC-721 token. Boom. A different layer of what? Utility. Quant solves so many darn layers of utility. It's unbelievable. Can you name another particular project out there that has so many darn layers of interoperability and using so many different layers of utility? We're always talking about, and there's other content creators that basically mention this, right? And that is, does your crypto have real world utility? Okay, check. Yes, Quant definitely has that. And then on top of that, we know that they have, oh my gosh, they got this. They got, for instance, all these partnerships going on. I mean, what they do in the cloud, what they do with, you know, all these other sectors, right? I mean, APIs. I mean, we could go on and on. I can't name one that has more layers of utility than Quant. But anyway, let's get back into this. So, secondary market, yeah, sold for 300 Matic. It concerns Nebula P NFT 886, a Lagoon Nebula of 4 citizen status. The transaction was made on the 16th of January 2023. You can view it right on OpenSea. But the key is, again, that interoperability, to be able to have that connection to the likes of Polygon's Matic to make this happen. Where on the other hand, if this was early 2021 and so on, it would be ETH all the way. And here is one of the key things I want to mention about this, and I'm glad I brought this up. Here's a quote, and you guys have probably seen it on another video, but if you're new, you've never seen this. Why don't I just show the particular video? Because last time we got flagged for copyright. You know, we want to be able to have our videos monetized. You know, this stuff that we do, I should say stuff, but you know, what we do here at Crypto Talk now, it's very time consuming. So if anything, we do want to get some ad revenue, right? And if I show you the video, it'll get flagged and we won't be able to get the ad revenue. But anyway, I'll read the quote. I'll get to the specific thing about it. Here is the key thing I want you guys to understand and why I am so darn bullish on Quant. I don't get really hyped up about a lot of things. You guys know it for the most part. Yeah, I might put out a thumbnail, mention some crazy, you know, 1000x and stuff like that. But this is why I'm going to state, for the record, I feel as though at some point, maybe later in this year, or especially going out to 2024, 2025, that Quant will be a topic that everybody is going to be listening about. Here it goes. Quoted from Mark Cuban. Listen to this. Ethereum is driven by utility. A reason to use it. Bitcoin maxis will tell you that there is the Lightning Network and you can do wire transfers and money transfers, and that is true. It is true. But there's a site called cryptofees.info, and that tells you how much in transaction fees the network has actually generated, so you know how busy it is and whether people are paying in gas. And that's the key thing here, in gas fees per transaction. See where I'm going with this? Hold on, there's more. On Ethereum, there's millions of dollars worth of transactions that take place there. The issue is what drove the price of Ethereum up is that people needed to buy gas fees for NFTs. When everybody was, you know, just said basically game over NFTs and everybody was going nuts, people were minting them and that used gas fees. The ERC-20 token, right? People were buying them and that used gas fees. People were trading them, that used gas fees. So that utility is what helped push Ethereum up. Now let's be honest about it. Nobody was a fan of those particular gas fees. God knows I wasn't. And when I had to buy some of these crappy dog crap meme coins, I'm not going to use the bad word, because we do try to keep it family friendly for the most part. But that's what a lot of that stuff was. That's what they call it, coins, right? So, you know, I'll name a horrible one, Clifford Inu. I got robbed of $1,400 with that darn thing. Why? Because I came in literally 2 hours after the deadline, December 31st, 2022. And they said, well, you know, here's our V2. Well, thanks a lot, content creators who got paid to shill Clifford Inu. Thanks for updating us about there was going to be a V2 contract. Well, that's part of your own research. Okay, I get it. You were paid by them. So if you're paid by them, why can't you at least put out a memo to your communities who help build up your freaking platforms? Sorry, I apologize. I'm getting a little heated, I know. So look at this. That utility is what helped push Ethereum up. And with that said, if that is what that utility is that helped push Ethereum up, then why not, can we not understand how this is an important layer for the likes of Quant? It's a huge layer for the likes of Quant. When we talk about, for instance, when it comes to Quant, all these different layers of interoperability, all these different layers of utility, I don't understand how people could come in and say that Quant will be it's not worth anything. Or people are naive and say it's a scam. Are you kidding me? No freaking way. You know? All right. A little bit more in regards to that. I know I got kind of passionate about that, and I think if anything, so you guys do appreciate that. For the ones who are against me and against Quant, they're just going to use it as fuel, but that's okay. All right, so it says giveaway alert. You may be interested about this, and I thought, you know what, let's give them some icing on the cake. To celebrate the arrival of Nebula, our dearest community member, Boom XXX. Oh, it's account suspended. That's weird. Maybe he said he upset somebody on Twitter. Anyway, on Telegram, proposed to give a first citizen to one lucky Galilean. Here are the rules to be eligible to join. This is posted 23 hours ago. It's still pretty fresh, guys. Dear Galileans, on January 23rd, which is Monday of, I guess that'll be next week. Shout out to my gaming community, DPG. This will be our 21st year as a gaming community. I am the leader and founder of that. Again, if you want to join a great gaming community, if you're into that, check us out. You can follow me on Twitter. I'll give you more information. But anyway, back to the topic. On January 23rd, they will reveal the first citizen holders their gifts, physical or digital goods. There is more information in regards to this. I'll outline it here for you. Sorry about that, excuse me. So you can create a Twitter thread about a Galileo value proposition, for instance, LeoX, Nebula, NFTs, and physical tokenization. You're going to be able to get maximum engagement, if you're able to do that, I should say. Interactions and shares on the Twitter feed will determine 3 winning threads. So it's whoever, you know, gets this out there and it gets a lot of interaction, and you're able to prove that, well, you could very well be the type of person who wins this. There's another thing to mention. It says, after determining the 3 winning threads, the Galileo community will vote on the Telegram for their favorite thread. The winner of the first citizen will be selected and announced on Friday. And to be honest, I'm just going to tell you all flat out right now. Tim Shea, if you're watching this, you're going to end up winning the whole thing because you already have a darn NFT collection anyway. There's the thread on it. And you can go to Galileo Protocol if you're wanting to enter into this specifically. Let me just pull up their particular site. So it's galileoprotocol.io if you want more details on how you can go about that. All right, guys, with that said, I know that was quite the deep dive, to say the least, right? But I feel as though it's important to outline some of these key things because, I mean, NFTs was a huge thing, and it still is, right? It still is. We know that for a fact. But if you have that Quant connection that solves a real problem with a real solution, are you not that much more bullish? Because how we know that we've seen things in a bear market do well, we saw it happen with the likes of Polygon. Polygon stood out because what they were able to do specifically with NFTs, and yes, I get it. You know, the Disney partnership, all those things that, you know, Polygon did are huge. Yeah, am I into Polygon? Yes, I'm into Polygon. But this is a Quant video. But if anything, guys, I love to provide you this particular content. Yes, I'm passionate about Quant. Why? Because I realize it's my second chance at Bitcoin, but with real world utility. So, you know, it's 140 bucks. We were all complaining about it being 100 a while back. People are saying it's going to drop down to 40. Now it's 140. So there you guys go. If you want more of our particular content on a live show where you can ask questions and comments on the fly, we have a live show every single day of the week, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific for Crypto Talk Now. And by all means, guys, if you want to follow us on Twitter, you're more than welcome to. You can follow Larry at Crypto Talk Now 21. You can follow me at DPGmaximus. You all have a blessed day, everybody. Like, comment, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and please hit that bell notification. Over and out for now. We'll see you on the next one.